Hello friends, this is our Black Friday deal running now through the weekend. We have 20% off individual courses with the code listed below, as well as an additional 10% off our already 20% off bundled deal together. We still have a lot of interest of people looking to get into the chat room and live stream community. Right now, if you finish the course, you get added automatically to an express list. But once you are on this express list, you still have to go to our website and sign up through the membership page, and 2 spots open up per day for that express list. Last week, we had a day where both spots did not fill. So you need to be going and checking to that site and trying to sign up, keeping in mind that with this new Black Friday deal here, we're going to have a lot more people with courses fresh off the press trying to get into that membership. So be persistent, but also be patient. We're trying to do this to keep things efficient and organized on our end and to keep the productivity at a maximum. Hey everyone, checking in on the market. So we had blood in the streets overnight last night. The price dropped on Bitcoin all the way down to 4,200s here on Coinbase, and it ended up being a 2-day drop of well over 20%. So we had the bear break, and a lot of people were putting messages in, this isn't a crash, this isn't that bad. And all we did was get a significant move with a lot of follow through. And now we're very clearly seeing the weekly equilibrium bear break and the amount of follow through that is associated with that. And the volume is going to be there increasing as well. So the daily RSI is still crushed down at 10. I've been saying how RSI levels matter a lot less in this current environment, but it's worth keeping an eye on. We know we're oversold on the daily, but the RSI on all the shorter term timeframes has now cooled off because this is the first real bounce that we've seen at any point on the last 2 days drop. And the previous bounce was a very weak one, didn't break any resistance levels, hardly saw any follow through, and then we just saw another leg down. And right now, bulls are hoping that's not what's the case happening here again. The RSI has cooled off on the 4-hour time frame. We did top out and set a new resistance level at 47.5932. That's the top of this bounce now. That's a very important resistance level going forward. And of course, the very important support level going forward is going to be the low of 4,218. So we have a tightening range that we're going to be watching. The setup on the daily time frame favors the likelihood of a daily inside bar forming tomorrow, just because it's about a 15% range on this candlestick, and we're currently right in the middle of that. So we could see a tightening sideways day tomorrow, staying within this candlestick range, which is, again, the more likely scenario in my opinion. We did get some news, and I do believe it had a significant, a short-term impact on the price here. We had consolidation after the breakout. It looked like very normal, healthy consolidation, and then right about afternoon here, look at the volume start to pick up. So right here at about 12:15, volume increases, and then the bears just run with it, and we see a significant pullback. And on the hourly time frame at this point, we're looking for an equilibrium. The bulls need to form a higher low. They're trying to do so at 44.51, and then trying to set a lower high and see a tightening hourly equilibrium into tonight. But the news that came out just afternoon at about 12:18, I believe it was posted, 12:13, it was posted in our chat room. So backed daily futures contract is expected to begin January 24th, and that's delayed. They were expecting to begin earlier than that. They're saying they're giving themselves additional time. The new listing time frame will provide additional time for customer and clearing member onboarding prior to the start of trading and warehousing of the new contract. So in my opinion, we had a slight bearish reaction to that news, and that led to more significant pullback with increasing bear volume, which the bulls obviously would rather not have seen. They would have rather seen healthy consolidation and then continuation. But here we are with a bit of a pullback, and that puts the bears back in the driver's seat to a certain degree. We now have to break 47.59 for any kind of bullish momentum from here. So on the shorter term time frames, we had a beautiful 15-minute equilibrium giving a signal. And what's a good thing about this is we have not had good signals given on bull breaks much at all recently, but here is one where it was. So we had the low of the dump, the high of the initial bounce, higher low, lower high was 44.44. We broke it, did a little stutter step, and then exploded. So breaking 44.44, we then went all the way to 47.59. So from that low to the high, we ended up running about 7+%, which is very significant. So nice to see the bulls get that follow through on increasing bull volume. It's just giving it back now, and the hourly time frame is the one to be watching. Bulls have to see more follow through than this to give us that higher low. If we fade back down and break 44.50 support, that's going to increase the odds significantly for the potential of another leg down. And again, just have the psychology in this current market environment that we can always see lower prices. If you always remind yourself that, whether you're scaling in for long-term holds or looking for a bounce, just remind yourself every single time we can absolutely go lower than this. So tightening hourly pattern on Bitcoin worth watching, daily inside bar more likely than not heading into tomorrow, but how this hourly pattern breaks later tonight, ideally, if this higher low has been formed, will give us some good insight into short-term momentum. Also watching for the 4-hour exponential, or I should say the 4-hour MACD cross. We used to play that a lot back in the beginning of the year for follow through on oversold bounces. So keeping an eye out to see if the bulls are going to be able to pull off that signal as well. Keeping an eye on the shorts, we saw a big spike in shorts here at 3 a.m. on the East Coast, and that's worth noting. So what I do is I go and look at the price when that bull move occurred on shorts, when all those shorts opened up, and it was here on this candlestick with another leg down. So I can say to myself that if the price is over 4,559, which is the top of that candlestick, that everybody that entered these shorts here, pretty much everybody, is in the red. Now at this point, that wouldn't be any kind of significant, loss that people would need to cover, and we would have any kind of short squeeze or, bears rushing for the exit. But it's worth noting that if the Bitcoin bulls can get over, I would say if we can get over 5,000 tonight and apply that pressure, that's when we could see some of these bears start to panic a little bit and start to close out their positions. Keep in mind that every time we consolidate like this, the last 2 hours, that gives bears a chance to manage their position and get out. Short squeezes occur when there is no pauses of consolidation. We just shoot up and the bulls push the price so far and so hard that the bears literally cannot be patient to exit. They have to market buy to get out of that position. So, people looking for a V-shaped recovery or short squeeze, it has to see a lot of bull momentum first, and the bears aren't going to start covering until things get significant follow through, which again, in my opinion, would be a bull break of 5,000 overnight tonight if we could see that follow through, which is not likely, but it is certainly possible. But keep an eye on those shorts, because again, that is information that tells us significant amount of shorts opened up down here in this range, and we are currently trying to stay above that range. So a good number of those shorts are in the red. ETH, also looking for a daily volume climax for the bulls to potentially indicate the short-term bottom. Lower wick of bulls buying the dip. 4-hour time frame setting a lower high. So our new key resistance level is 144.97. We'll call that 145. Ended up seeing a very solid bounce of $24, a 20% bounce from the low to the high. So these altcoins are going to see more significant percentage moves comparative to what Bitcoin is doing. But with that extra potential reward is obviously that extra risk as well. So the hourly time frame is pulling back, looking for a higher low. 121.50 is support. There's another support at 128.49, and the bulls are looking for a higher low compared to 128.49, and then we'll look for a tightening range, just like what we're watching for on Bitcoin. If we see increasing bear volume, it's always worth noting. We have decreasing bear volume on Ethereum, but we had increasing bear volume on Bitcoin. And again, in my opinion, that's due to the backed exchange news coming out when consolidation was underway. So hourly time frame, higher low needs to form, and then we'll look up to resistance of 145 and watch for the potential of a lower high. 4-hour time frame, exponential resistance coming into play, and the odds of a daily inside bar pretty high here as well, especially if we just continue to tighten for the rest of the day. XRP broke support of 415, but not significantly, just barely broke that level and then saw a very significant bounce. Hourly time frame, look how quick that happened. We went from 411 to 485, almost a 20% bounce in 2 hours. So we'll call it a 17% bounce in 2 hours, and we did form a double top, so that's the most important clear resistance, 4856, 4868. So slightly higher, but clear rejection. And we're now looking to try and hold the hourly uptrend. I'm looking at support. Most important level for me short term for support is 446. If we break 446, the bulls lose this momentum. They need a higher low here, just like Bitcoin and Ethereum do, to give us that hourly higher low and to try and see follow through to set that lower high and give us that tightening range. 4-hour time frame, clear lower high established. And obviously a very significant bounce, so that's going to continue keeping the XRP BTC chart as we watch Ripple move up the total market cap. But this chart for XRP BTC has been very strong recently during this entire dump, as you can see, and getting towards the highest levels that we've seen in quite some time if we can continue this move. So XRP definitely turning some heads and we do see some significant buying of the dip on these pullbacks. So if you're looking for, again, more volatility, more risk reward, look to these altcoins as opposed to looking at Bitcoin. ZRX USD, bullish reversal candlestick, volume climax trying to form, although we did have higher volume just a week ago. 4-hour time frame, new resistance is set up at 508. We had significant follow through on this bounce here, but now we're giving it back. And look at the amount of consolidation volume here. Volume climax marked on the hourly time frame. Pretty significant pullback, but the higher low has been established, 4289. So this is our hourly range now. We're looking for a lower high compared to 508 and a tightening hourly chart. But the move from 37 all the way up to 50, again, very significant move. That's over 33%. So yet another altcoin with much more significant percentage moves than what we're seeing on Bitcoin. But again, hourly tightening range, just like everybody else, is the most likely scenario as we head into tonight. And there was one more I wanted to do here. Let's check in on XLM. So XLM USDT, we'll go to Binance. Daily time frame, long lower wick, volume climax, 4-hour lower high has been set on the bounce. Everybody's correlated in that regard. That resistance is up at 224, and the bulls are trying to form an hourly higher low. Key support just barely holding right now, 1986 double low. Trying to bounce and set a lower high. So very key support there. If that breaks, we're looking back down at 18 cents. So similar setups with everybody. We've set 4-hour lower highs. Percentage-wise, some bounces much more significant than others. We're watching for tightening hourly patterns as we head into tonight. And at this point, I was stopped out of that position from the last video, break even, like my game plan was. And at this point, I am entering, and I did enter, I'm trying to position myself in no risk trades. And what I want to do is get into a trade and set my stop loss at break even, and then hope that the bounce gets more follow through. That allows me to not have to pay attention at all. And personally, I'm still trading stocks every day. So today I've already had a multiple day maker in stocks. So I don't care about locking in short-term gains on BTC because it doesn't really compare to the day I've had with stocks. I'm looking for longer term moves. And again, if I put myself in a position and put myself with a break-even stop loss, I don't even have to look at the charts. I just check in whenever and that position will play out for itself. So most recently here on this consolidation, I was looking for the hourly higher low. And the 5-minute time frame was giving us a clear reaction, in my opinion, to this news with just a lower high every single candlestick, 3, 6, 9, 12 candlesticks in a row with a lower high every 5-minute candlestick. As soon as we broke that lower high pattern, I entered the trade. And now that we have a 5-minute higher low and higher high, as soon as I'm done this video, I am about to put my stop loss right at break even. And that means that if I'm going to trigger out, that means we're going to lose these little supports and we're going to head back down and test the low of 44.50. So it's a smaller position. And again, I'm not looking for any kind of home runs. Well, I guess you could say I am looking for a home run by trying to swing trade the position, looking for a more prolonged bounce on the daily time frame. But if I just keep getting stopped out, I lose absolutely nothing. So those are the positions I'm trying to get myself in. I did it yesterday, got stopped out after what looked like a good entry, but break-even stop protected me from any losses. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing with my current Bitcoin position and put a stop just below here, 44.82 or so. So that's my game plan going forward. Other people are just scouting bearish entries. 4-hour lower highs is where some bears piled in. If you want to be a very patient bear, you're waiting for the daily bounce to give us a lower high. That might take another couple days to begin playing out. But overall, just establish your game plan. What direction are you looking? That's question number one. And then what time frame is the most important for you to be scouting for that entry? So that's where we stand. I appreciate you watching. Thanks for all the support out there and the likes and the shares and all of that. Volatility's back at least. So regardless of whether or not you like what's going on in the crypto space, when you have 30% bounces on some of these altcoins, there is nice volatility in both directions, regardless of whether you're a bull or a bear. There is opportunity back in these markets, better than being sideways, that is for sure. And keeping a close eye on volume as our indication. The bulls have to show up with volume. The first time they've done it here was that 15-minute bull break. Other than that, the hourly bull volume on any of these bounce attempts has been nothing to write home about on these bulls. So these bulls have to see an hourly equilibrium and a bull break up towards 5,000 into tomorrow if this bounce is going to have any kind of follow through. Otherwise, we're just going to look for sideways trading and the daily inside bar to form. So thanks again. Don't forget to do good things out there. and we'll see you tomorrow. Hello, I'm the guy with the microphone, Charting Man Dan. In this section, we're going to be talking about emotional and physical well-being of stock traders. It's not just about knowing when to buy and sell if we want to be... Hello, I'm the guy with the microphone, Charting Man Dan. In this section, we're going to be talking about the physical and emotional well-being of a trader. It's not just about knowing when to buy and sell if we want to be doing this long-term for decades. I'm going to be showing you a little bit around the farm and how I stay balanced. Nancy, don't eat that. Hey! Don't eat that.